Welcome back to the GSMC Chip Shot Football Podcast to jump into our next segment around A.J. Brown and the incident that caused a lot of people, a lot of Philadelphia fans, to be a little bit unhappy, confused around the whole situation that happened with A.J. Brown yesterday on his Instagram account. If you didn't notice or if you didn't see any reports or articles around this situation, A.J. Brown basically changed his profile picture to a picture of Tom Brady on his Instagram. And on top of that, he also allegedly, I didn't actually check on Instagram before I came on here, but allegedly he started following the new Patriots wide receiver, KJ Osborne, and their new/returning quarterback, Jacoby Brissett, on Instagram as well. And it's odd, just generally speaking, why would A.J. Brown have a picture of Tom Brady as his profile picture on Instagram? A little weird if there's no context, but there is a lot of background, a lot of history there. If you didn't know, A.J. Brown grew up a New England Patriots fan, and he is a huge Tom Brady fan as well. He's quoted him as saying he's his favorite player ever. He's a fan of them. And if you remember back in 2019, the Patriots were looking for a wide receiver in 2019 in the draft. Everyone almost expected them to draft one. And A.J. Brown was still on the board when they were going to pick. There was a lot of talk about him going to New England, how it would be a perfect situation for him to go there. He was looking forward to it. He expected it, talking with his agent. It all looked like it was going to fall perfectly for him to play for his favorite team. And then they ended up drafting N'Keal Harry. A.J. Brown fell to the second round, and, the rest is history with N'Keal Harry. And now you look at A.J. Brown and how much different it could have been. But in an episode of Bussin' with the Boys back a few years now, a couple years, they talked about that moment with A.J. Brown, how he felt, and he actually told them in that interview that afterwards he was so upset by it, so shocked that the Patriots didn't draft them, and how it was his favorite team and everything. He actually went home, left his draft party, and actually was pretty upset by it, cried, went home and cried because he was so upset. That was his opportunity. It was going to fall so perfect. To see it crumble and not have the Patriots backstab him or anything, but I'm sure he felt a certain type of way about it, that he was truly very upset by it. And now that is the history around that. And coming back to present day and seeing why it all connects now, he said on a post on X, he kind of explained himself around why Tom Brady was his profile pick and just addressing everybody that might have called him out, might have been nervous if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan. He said on a Twitter post, TB12 is my favorite player ever. I watched the Dynasty, and it brought back some memories from my childhood. Go look up what he did in 2015 when he was doubted/disrespected. Yeah, I see the disrespect. Motivated, ... Yes. That's it. I did not think changing my profile picture to the greatest quarterback ever would cause controversy. Take care. A fan responded to that, just basically saying that he should have known better, that changing the picture to Tom Brady would cause a lot of people to raise their antennas and start questioning everything, to which then A.J. Brown responded again, and he said that he doesn't live by the world's rules, by anybody else's rules except his own, and that those conversation, that exchange was since deleted on X, but it did happen. It was on there, that exchange between A.J. Brown and a fan, and him basically just explaining himself to everybody, basically, if anybody got really worried with all these actions that took place, the profile picture following KJ Osborne, following Jacoby Brissett, it could raise some warning signs there, but not really those actions, but more so what came afterwards. Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer then later reported that New England had actually inquired about A.J. Brown, and they were very interested in maybe working out a deal to bring him in because, like I mentioned, they probably still are in a wide receiver market, just trying to bring in as much talent as they can Sports Illustrated Albert Breer reported that interest from the New England Patriots, and he said specifically that Philadelphia has gotten inquiries on A.J. Brown, the Patriots being one of them, obviously. They have shut them all down, told other teams that he is not available. But the interest is there. There is some connection there. It's not like A.J. Brown did this randomly. He changed it to Tom Brady. KJ Osborne and Jacoby Brissett have now been followed, and you could sweep that all under the rug, but when it's in connection, in collaboration with the Patriots actually really being interested in A.J. Brown, then you could really see the validity in some fans, some people in Philadelphia just really become a little bit worried, a little bit flustered by seeing everything almost fall into place like this. You saw it with Brandon Ayuk, stopped following the 49ers, and just everything he's posted on social media as an example can lead you to think in this situation as well that it's sort of coming apart a little bit. There is something there that you're not seeing, but with the actions of A.J. Brown, you can see why it could lead to further talks. Now that the draft is coming up, A.J. Brown's been dealt to the Eagles in the past during the draft. People might think about that, bring it back up, and then you go down this rabbit hole of thinking, wow, like the Eagles could be really interested. Could we see something coming up in the next few days that just shocks everybody? It isn't out of the complete realm of possibility. I'll never say anything's impossible, especially around the draft where we've seen some massive surprises, A.J. Brown being traded as one of them in recent memory. But you have to remember that A.J. Brown is still only 26 years old, will be playing on the third year of that 4-year deal that he received from the Philadelphia Eagles when he got to Philadelphia after the trade. 4-year, $100 million contract back in 2022. He'll be playing on the third year of that. So you look at that, on top of all the interest from the Patriots, the activity on social media, you can see maybe a window opening where in about 2 years, 3 years even, when he's still 29, 28 years old, if it's 2 years, if the Patriots are still really interested in their situation that they're in a long-term project. So in 2 to 3 years, they're not going to be realistically competing for the AFC conference. Not a lot of teams can just turn it around like the Houston Texans just did. So it's unlikely, but again, not impossible. I don't see it as likely, but you see a window start to open up a little bit with A.J. Brown. His contract is not running out, but it is just not that far away, where the Patriots could, if they're really interested, could come back again around that time, expiring contract, and really push the button of the Philadelphia Eagles and see how far they're willing to go to deal A.J. Brown at some point. I don't think it's realistic right now to settle the nerves of any Philadelphia fan watching or just knowing of this report of all these actions. It probably wouldn't happen right now, because if there was ever a chance it could be done, it would be just in a couple of years, like I mentioned with the contract. And if you look at it now, everyone's talking about the Patriots and how they would rebuild this team and really make it a contender, build it up the right way. You wouldn't do that by trading for a guy like A.J. Brown, 2 years left on his contract. And it wouldn't make sense if you bring a wide receiver who's going to be throwing him the ball. Jacoby Brissett's there, but that's not going to make an exponential change, an exponential improvement to this team where it stands right now. And if you want to just talk basically just trade and what the Patriots would probably have to give up, the Eagles would probably ask for nothing less than that number 3 overall pick and maybe even more, another pick or so in the later rounds or 4th round, 3rd round for A.J. Brown because of how prolific he is. He's in the top 5, top 7 wide receivers right now, just off the top of my head. To give him up, the Patriots are going to have to give up a lot, and it's just too expensive for them right now, realistically. It doesn't make too much sense for a new head coach, new general manager in there to make this sort of trade. It just seems too impulsive to me. It's okay to have that interest, but to just go out and do it without really thinking about all the options. I'm sure they are. which is why I don't think this will happen. But again, it just seems too impulsive, too in the moment. It is funny how it all lines up with the interest and the actions from A.J. Brown, but it shouldn't be taken too seriously. It is just something that caught the eye of a lot of fans and a lot of reporters and just media members in general out there, because you're talking about one of the best wide receivers. The Patriots are certainly in the market of trying to get better. No doubt A.J. Brown would make them better, but thinking long term, is this the piece that you need right now at this moment? Probably not. The receivers they have already aren't world-changing, aren't game-changers in a way, but Kendrick Bourne is a very solid receiver. You still have Juju Smith-Schuster there. You were able to bring back Hunter Henry, and you have a very good offensive line, running game that I'm sure they're going to try and build off of. It doesn't make sense to give up so much right now for A.J. Brown, but it is certainly something that caught a lot of people's eye. But in the end, like I mentioned, it isn't something to really take too seriously right now. With the draft coming up, I'm sure a lot of talk will be made with the Patriots and them not really focusing too much on this, but around their number 3 pick and what they're going to end up doing. We're less than a week away from the first round of the NFL draft, so more of that conversation, trades, fits, rumors, just movement all around the draft is going to start to really heat up in the next coming days, over the weekend, I'm sure. So we're going to sit tight and just hold out to see what happens, what else we can talk about moving forward. But mentioning that, we will move forward with the show, put a pin in that conversation, and go into our second break. But we still have more segments to talk about on the other side of that. The Washington Commanders and what they're going to do with the number 2 overall pick, as well as me providing my top 5 list of the quarterbacks I think who are most likely to win their first Super Bowl out of the current NFL quarterbacks playing right now. I'll give you that list in just a few seconds. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.